Common Sense Cafe. Common sense for the common folk. That's what we're bringing to you today. Common sense for the common folk. So we're here and we've got some good topics for you. Let's start by mentioning our website again. Our website is commonsensecafé.blog. blog.
There'll be some written blogs there, some video blogs.
Video, vlogs. We're vloggers.
Way to
vloggers.
Hey.
The only thing we're not is cloggers. I have two left feet, so I couldn't be a clogger.
There's also two things on there. One is you can send us comments.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
That's good.
Send us comments. We need your comments, good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, different.
You can cuss at us in writing, but if we ever have you on the show, you can't cuss at us.
That's right. We don't put up with it in person, but you can write whatever you want.
Another way is, another thing you can do, I think it says subscribe. And what that does is it sends us your email address. We don't give it to anybody else, but it allows us that if we have something we want to communicate to our listeners, we can send an email and let them know, hey, we're going to be live on such and such day, or something like that. And
we are planning on doing some live sessions with guests.
With other people. That's right. Yeah.
So that would be really good.
If you want to be a guest, whether you're with us or against us.
Yeah.
If you want to be a guest, go on our website, commonsensecafé.blog, and send us a comment saying you want to be on our one of our shows, and that you give us some details about what you want to talk about. What you want, what's the subject you want to talk about what's your point of view, as much as you can, because we're not just going to ask everybody to get on here, but if you have a good topic and you feel
if you can bring something to the conversation, we want that. We invite good conversation. So
right, you don't have to agree with us, but you need to know a little bit about what you're saying, even if we don't. So
absolutely, yeah, right. Okay, so that's commonsensecafé.blog.
Oh, let me what do you say? A shout out. That's what I want to do. Shout out to my nephew who made me this mug. Dale made me this mug. And
I've got some up here too that he's done. I've got some
I don't know if you're supposed to drink out of it or not, but
I don't see why not.
My dishwasher hadn't run this week, so nobody's turned it on.
All right, so what are we going to bring to the people tonight? What is the voice of common sense going to say?
Something they are sick of hearing about.
Okay.
I am. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Well, let's just wear this subject out.
COVID. We got to talk about this because we got to give our point of view, the common sense point of view. Now, let me say, I know some people, and real close to me, will not agree with some of the things I say, but we'll need to talk about it. Okay. So I got some statistics. You want to start with that?
Sure. Let's just jump off with that.
Okay. I got some statistics come off the CDC.
Yeah. Are we on the clock? We're going to do like a 15-minute.
Yeah. Let's
all right.
Keep
cool.
It going and short. And let's say CDC website. I got this September the 16th. I took it off their website, report on all the COVID cases, and they break it down into a lot more than I have here tonight. But let's see, how many cases in the world do you think there's been of COVID so far?
Ooh, man, see, I don't follow.
Well, let me give you a couple of numbers to get you started.
Okay.
Because I don't know, cases in the world, 30,230,000 cases in the world, all the countries.
And there's 300 and something. How many billion people are in the world?
There's
Yeah.
7.7 billion people
Okay.
in the
7.7 million.
world. So I didn't write that percentage out there, but I think that comes to somewhere around 0.04%, not even a 0.5%. Not sure about that. You can check my math. 7.7 million people in the world. Billion people in the world. 30 million cases. In the United States, there's been. Let me make sure you get this right here. In the United States, there's been 6,571,000 cases, confirmed cases. And of those, there's been 195,000 deaths in the United States. 948,000, almost 1 million people have died from COVID in the world.
Worldwide.
Yeah. And these numbers come off the CDC website. If it doesn't mount up to what your politician is telling you, whatever, go look it up for yourself. CDC website. Which is something disease control.
The world.
No,
You're talking about CDC?
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So 1 million cases of no. 30 million cases of COVID in the world. Almost 1 million people have died from COVID, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3% of the amount. 3% of the cases, confirmed cases. 3% of those people died.
Okay.
Not 3% of the population in the world, but out of all the people that have been confirmed to have COVID,
it has
3% of those people died.
Rate, basically.
Huh?
They're claiming a 3% mortality rate.
Right. So 1 million people, those deaths out of the full population is 0.01%. Now, I'm not making a little light of people that have died from it. It's,
right.
We, like you said before, we sure empathize with you. We're sorry for the deaths and the loss. And some people have suffered, even if they didn't die. I know a man that had COVID, stayed in the hospital, I think they said 2 months. He was on ventilator, and it was just really rough for him. So, and now he's having to go through some rehabilitation,
right?
Just to get back to his strength and do the normal things he does during the day. So it's a bad disease.
Sure.
But what I'm getting to is the hype. It's a bad disease. In the United States, there's been 195,000 people who've died from this COVID-19. That's 3%
of those
who all cases
contract the disease. Yep.
3% of the people that contract the disease die. So what I'm getting to is that getting COVID is not automatically a death sentence.
Right.
Only 3% are actually dying. And a lot of those were early on where it spread through nursing homes.
Sure.
And through medical facilities that had a lot of elderly and sick people already. So in the United States, 0.06%, okay? That's less than 1%. It's less than, or it's just more than 0.5% of the population died from COVID.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you have any information that would compare these numbers to another disease or another time in history where we've gone through something like this? So
yeah,
how do they match up?
Okay, here we go. These numbers are from 2017. In 2017, 2.8 million people died in the United States. 2.8 million people.
In the United States? Or is that worldwide?
I'll have to check that.
Probably worldwide, because 1 million have died from this worldwide.
Yeah, but I believe it's 2.8 million over the whole year of 2017 died. Oh, well, yeah, you're right. It may be worldwide.
Yeah.
You're right. So somebody check that for me. Do a fact check. But anyway, in 2017, 2.8 million people died. The number one cause of death was heart disease.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Okay. It may be just United States then. If it's 2.8 million, and you're talking about overall deaths, not from one particular disease.
Right. Right.
Okay. All right.
Overall deaths, 2.8 million people died of
Right. Okay.
deaths in the United States, I think, in 2017. There were 600,000 of those deaths were from cancer. 650,000 of those deaths were from heart disease. I can't read my writing there. Let's see. Stroke, 150,000 people died of a stroke. 160,000 from a respiratory disease or problems like COPD and things like that, asthma. Alzheimer's, 121,000 people died from Alzheimer's. So in 2000, yeah, that would have been the United States, because 2.8 million people is less than 1% of the population died. It's 0.85% of the population died that year. So of that 2.8 million people that died, the number that have died from COVID would be 7%. So of all the people that would, let's say if 2017 was a normal year and 2.8 million people die on average every year, the deaths from COVID would be 7% of those deaths.
Right.
But yet heart disease is 20% of those deaths. Cancer is 18% or 21%. Yeah, 21%. Stroke, so in other words, yes, it's a bad disease. You don't want to get it. You don't want to spread it. We need to stop it. And if wearing a mask will do that, let's wear a mask to the store or to, out in public. But we have to be reasonable about that too. But did we shut down the government because 650,000 people died last year? Down the whole economy to say we can't have any stress?
Right.
Because,
well, playing the devil's advocate, heart disease is not something you can get from public interaction.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, what we have to understand is that with COVID, we would need to, in January 1, we wouldn't have them then, but we'll be able to look back and we'll be able to say, okay, in 2020, let's say 2.9 million people died in the United States. And so we don't have that high fluctuation that we thought we would have. Any death is unacceptable. We don't.
Right.
But yet, I would say this. I would say stuff like almost 20,000 people die each year. Well, between 15 and 20,000 people die each year from drunk driving, but yet we don't outlaw alcohol.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, the CDC says approximately about 40,000 people die each year from secondhand smoke, yet we don't outlaw tobacco sale.
Right.
So, yeah, I think we've gone to some extreme. I think if you look up the numbers on the H1N1 virus, we saw some pretty high mortality rate, or the mortality rate. We saw a high death. The mortality rate may not have been the same. We may have had way more people get it and less people die. But
Right.
nonetheless, it doesn't seem like that these numbers um, should have impacted the United States the way
Yeah,
that
our
they have.
whole economy.
Right.
Right. Now, and there's a big argument out there about, okay, this person had heart disease, they had COPD, but all these things going on, but they listed them as dying from COVID. Maybe somebody was on hospice and just about to die, but they got COVID. And so they died as COVID. It sounds ridiculous. It's and it is, and it's distorting the numbers. But Cindy explained this to me, and it was very reasonable that we're going to need to know that later, because statistics from this COVID are not going to be understood, and the effect of COVID is not going to be understood for a few years from now. But what they're going to do is, when everyone that's flagged COVID death, they will go back over the next few years and they will study how many of those COVID patients, COVID deaths, had heart disease, how many had COPD, how many smoked, how many were black, how many were Asian, white, how many had Alzheimer's, how many were on hospice already. They're going to just tear this down into such stratification where they're going to segment it to where they're going to know, here are the people that were most greatly affected by COVID.
And the information will be good. Here would be
It'll be good information.
My complaint about this is this. First of all, we only have about a minute and a half left on this subject. So my complaint about that process would be that the long-term benefit it will not necessarily outweigh the short-term damage that it's doing. That's my number one thing, because right now, media hype, political hype is doing a lot of damage. Number two, I would say that they could gather the same information by putting secondary cause.
Yeah.
You see on a death certificate, you can put primary and secondary, and it should be listed as a secondary cause.
But it doesn't feed the political agenda.
That's right. I have a friend of mine who just passed away, a great man. Loved him. He was part of our church over here in Iowa, in a different church that I pastored. Wonderful man. Had brain cancer. Was in the hospital for some complications. Contracted COVID. A lot of complications with the COVID, and he finally passed away. He was terminal. He'll be listed as a COVID death.
Yeah.
He was terminal, though. I say terminal in the respect that unless the Lord intervened. So my complaint would be the long-term benefits.
I hate to say this, but I ran over a cat the other day, and this nurse ran out and said, "Did he have COVID?"
Yeah, of course. But the long-term benefit.
I'm sorry for that one. All the cat lovers just. Whew.
Yeah, they're going. We're going to get some hate mail.
There we go.
The long-term benefit of listing primary death as COVID doesn't outweigh the damage I think that it's doing right now, and the conflict that it's causing right now.
Yeah.
It is putting the United States in a state of hysteria. And
they have tried to destroy this nation's economy, and they've used COVID to do it, because we had the lowest unemployment in history. We had the lowest unemployment in blacks, women, and Latinos, and the economy was doing better than it ever has before. They had to do something to stop it. This opportunity, whether it was intentionally, I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy out there. I won't go there, but no matter how it started, why it started, or what, they exploited it.
I agree. I think it's been exploited.
I think the economy.
It's been politicized to the point to where it has become extremely problematic. And again, that's why I say that the long-term information that they'll gain from this is not going to be able to outweigh the short-term damage that it's doing. But it's not only destroying the economy. It is polarized people in a way that has caused extreme schism in our communities. somebody needs to be held responsible. Though I know that they won't. We've got to move on from this subject. We've got our time machine going ding 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 ding. Certainly, there's. I think I'd love to have more statistics, and hopefully we'll be able to look back in January and revisit this subject and have, really it'd be March. We'd be able to look back at this subject and have a full year's worth of data. Compare it to the influenza and so forth. So
yeah. Well, you want to save the next topic for the next video, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do a separate video on the other topic.
And I want to use this topic to lead into it. What's that? Well,
we start by recapping this.
Yeah.
And then diving into the other. Yeah. But for now, this is Common Sense Cafe. I'm Jeff. God bless.